Good morning, Clark Middle School. I hope you're having a terrific Tuesday. I know I am. You know why? Well, it's because it's SEL time again, and that's one of my favorite times. Welcome to Senorita Graves' room. It's a nice, colorful room, and I appreciate being able to use it to record the lesson today. So last month we discussed active listening and how using effective communication skills benefit us in our relationships with friends, families, and our school relationships with teachers and classmates. I received a lot of great feedback from teachers about your participation in the Suckers activity and card building challenges, so I'm so proud of you and thank you so much. So can you tell what our topic might be for this month? I have a few things here that might give you a little clue. Did you guess the brain? If you did, then you're right. Today we're going to learn about the different parts of the brain and why your feelings, emotions, thoughts, and behaviors originate or come from your brain and body states. So what do you think all of these items have in common with our brain? Well, let's look at these first. And these go together. So here's a 3-pound weight. And this is also 3 pounds. Just so you can see it's a little bit different. But this is 3 pounds of mandarin oranges. So what do 3 pounds have in common with our brain? Well, that's how much our brains weigh. Some other things that weigh 3 pounds, well, I weighed this laptop, it's about 3 pounds also. So think about what weighs 3 pounds, and that's how much your brain weighs. Get that out of the way. So what about, let's see what's next. How about this butter? This represents fat. Our brains are 60% fat. It takes a lot of energy to power our brain. And fats perform many functions, including energy production. How about water? Our waters are made of 75% water. So you can understand why it's important to stay hydrated. Even being slightly dehydrated can negatively affect your brain function. So that's why sometimes in my office I might ask you if you had any water today or how much water you drank, because it's very, very important for your brain function. Here's Jell-O. So what do you think that Jell-O and your brain have in common? Oh, just kidding. If you would touch a real brain, it would feel similar to Jell-O. So that little give and wiggle there, that would feel a little bit like Jell-O if you would touch a real brain. So let me get this out of the way here. So let's take a tour. Let's take a tour of the brain.
Hello learners, this is your brain. It's a decision-making, emotion-feeling, language processing, silly face-making, hard-working factory. And just like a factory, it has many sections that perform different jobs. There is so much going on inside your head, so why don't we go and take a tour of your extraordinary brain. The actual brain sitting inside your head is a grayish pink color, but we're going to color code this image of the brain to highlight the different sections. Our first stop is the brainstem. This connects directly to the spinal cord and is responsible for involuntary actions. That means all of the things our body does without us thinking about it. Things like our heart rate, our breathing, and our digestion are controlled by the brainstem. Moving up, we have the amygdala. The amygdala is a small region deep inside the brain and is where you feel your emotions. So if you're happy or angry or silly or scared or embarrassed or excited, your amygdala is helping you figure that out. Our next section is located deep inside the center of the brain. It's shaped funny and it sounds funny. This is our hippocampus. Our hippocampus is where we store and locate our memories. So if you can remember what you had for breakfast this morning, you have your hippocampus to thank. Next, we have the cerebellum. The cerebellum is a small region located in the rear of the brain. It helps us move and balance. Now we get to the top of the brain, the cerebrum. The cerebrum is the largest section of our brain, and that's great because it has got a lot of work to do. The cerebrum helps us to listen, speak, see, and think. Lastly, we come to the prefrontal cortex. It's located in the front of our brains, right behind our forehead. This is where we use logic and think critically. The prefrontal cortex is the section we use to make smart decisions. All of these sections may specialize in different things, but they work best when they work together.
Okay, so I want you to think about those different parts of the brain. And so let's look at all these different parts of the brain that we just learned about and think about what regions would be working together if you were talking to friends while riding a bike. So if you're riding your bicycle with your friend and you're talking to them, of course, what regions would be working together? Teachers, feel free to pause if you want to discuss it at this time. Give students a chance to think. I'm going to give you a second to think about which two regions are working together at the same time while you're talking to friends and riding a bicycle. Well, that would be the cerebrum and the cerebellum. Cerebellum, remember, is the part responsible for balance, which you would need riding your bicycle, and then the cerebrum, which is where you're hearing and seeing and talking and speaking, those kinds of things is the region that's coming from. So those two things have to work together at the same time. All right, let's try another one. What two regions would be working together if you're trying to recall what your teacher said, maybe what she said or he said for homework, or what you needed to study for the test, and you're doing this while you're in line at lunch trying to figure out what to choose for lunch. So what two regions do you feel like would be working together for that? Well, the two regions would be the hippocampus. That's the part that is responsible for memory storage and storing your memories and recalling those kinds of things. So recalling what your teacher said during the teaching, directions, all of those kinds of things, the information that you're learning in class, what you need to study for, what homework is tonight, that is being stored in the hippocampus. And then choosing what to eat is prefrontal cortex, right up here. Do you like my brain hat? Don't worry, there's one that you can print off in the Google Classroom. Of course, you know I'll have some if you would like to create your own brain hat. But the prefrontal cortex is right up here where all your decision-making skills are at. So it's up right here in the prefrontal cortex. So those are the two regions. Teachers, if you'd like, you could pause at this spot and either as a class or take volunteers to give or to think of how, what two regions of your brain would be working together if. So feel free to do that if you'd like. Okay, so fun fact, brain freeze. When you drink or eat something really cold, thank you with grade teachers for this ice cream sandwich. When you drink or eat something really cold, it chills the blood vessels and arteries in the back of your throat. And then that sends a signal to your brain to send more blood to that region to warm it up. So you're having the constriction and of your the size difference of those arteries getting that blood causes that brain freeze or that kind of sudden pain in your head, that sharp pain. And this is what it's called. Phenylpalatine ganglioneuralgia is the name of what a brain freeze is, the actual name. So that was a fun fact. All right, so what is hard for you to do? What's been hard to learn? When something is hard, do you give up easily? Why? Why do you do that? What have you learned to do well? Did it come easy or did it take a lot of practice? When you have learned something new, it's because you have created neural pathways. If you practice with consistency, you can change the path and create a new path, which is the new skill that you're learning. Do you know what this means? It is great news. It means you can get better at something. Here, watch this short video and it will explain it a little further.
Not so long ago, many scientists believed that the brain did not change after childhood, that it was hardwired and fixed by the time we became adults. But recent advances in only the last decade now tell us that this is simply not true. The brain can and does change throughout our lives. It is adaptable, like plastic. Hence neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity. How does neuroplasticity work? If you think of your brain as a dynamic, connected power grid, there are billions of pathways or roads lighting up every time you think, feel, or do something. Some of these roads are well-traveled. These are our habits, our established ways of thinking, feeling, and doing. Every time we think in a certain way, practice a particular task, or feel a specific emotion, we strengthen this road. It becomes easier for our brains to travel this pathway. Say we think about something differently, learn a new task, or choose a different emotion. We start carving out a new road. If we keep traveling that road, our brains begin to use this pathway more, and this new way of thinking, feeling, or doing becomes second nature. The old pathway gets used less and weakens. This process of rewiring your brain by forming new connections and weakening old ones is neuroplasticity in action. The good news is that we all have the ability to learn and change by rewiring our brains. If you have ever changed a bad habit or thought about something differently, you have carved a new pathway in your brain and experienced neuroplasticity firsthand. With repeated and directed attention towards your desired change, you can rewire.
So now that we know a little more about the brain and how it works, I want to remind you one more time about the amygdala. We've talked about the amygdala a lot because it's an important part of our brain to understand, because we're learning how to manage our intense emotions and remind our amygdala to not make mountains out of molehills. Using the hand model is a great way to understand what is happening when we get anxious in crowded places, at an audition, up to bat, taking a test, or encountering a tiger. The wrist is the brainstem. So if you think about the wrist as the brainstem, that's responsible for things that you don't have to think about, like breathing, blinking, your heart pumping blood. Thank goodness we don't have to think about those things. The amygdala is inside the middle of the brain and responsible for sensing danger and telling the brain and body so they can be prepared and make quick decisions. The fingers are the prefrontal cortex and help manage emotions and make decisions. And those are those thoughtful decisions. So when there's danger or intense emotions and they overwhelm our amygdala, it takes our prefrontal cortex offline so that we can react quickly and get out of the danger. So when we're upset, it's hard to make thoughtful decisions because you flipped your lid. It's not easy for our amygdala to determine if the strong emotions is a bear chasing us, or there's just a presentation that we're working on and we're worried about doing it in front of the class. So, what do we need to do? How can we tell the difference? Well, we need tools to be able to help reset our brains when our amygdala starts feeling those intense emotions. Think of times that you have been functioning from your amygdala and you haven't made those thoughtful decisions, and maybe you've flipped your lid. You're now working from your reacting with emotion. You're running from the bear instead of making thoughtful decisions, taking those deep breaths, and being able to work through those intense emotions. Think about times, we all have those times when we're functioning from our amygdala. So think about those times that you may have recently, or at a time that you really remember that maybe you really flipped your lid. So feelings are felt in our brains and bodies. They are created from the hormones and neurotransmitters in our brains and our bodies. Feelings guide us through our days, and when we're off track, our feelings let us know. So sensations are the physical feelings that we're feeling in our bodies. They're the language of the body. And when we recognize these as normal ways our bodies speak to us, this feels calming and relieving that we know why we're feeling that way, what that sensation means. Sometimes we have a hard time recognizing those sensations in our bodies as feelings. When we do that, we can understand what's going on and also explain it to others when we need help. Adding those tools to that toolbox of ours that we need to be able to help ourselves. We're going to look at some pictures with words. They're right up here. And I want you to think what these feel like to you. This is something that you may never have been asked to do, so it's okay if you're thinking, huh? Or it feels a little strange. That was me the first time. No worries, just go with it until you feel comfortable adding your own. So what sensation do you feel in your body when you're feeling radiating? And what does radiating mean to you? Radiating here is the sunshine, the bright, sunny sun is radiating to you, where you feel very confident, you feel like happy, or maybe that radiating doesn't feel like that to you in your body. What about teary, the water droplets? Is that when you're feeling sad, do you get teary? Is that the sensation that you feel, teary in your body when you're sad or upset? How could you use these photos to describe how you feel in with these different words? Or would you use a different picture or a drawing to describe yourself when you feel tight? When you feel tight, would you have described it as knots, like in a rope? Or would you describe it some other way? So that's really something different that we don't always think about, is those sensations in our body. And how that helps is if we can recognize those sensations when we're starting to feel that way, we can identify what's happening with us. If we're feeling teary, we might be like, I don't know why I'm feeling teary. Well, if we know when we were feeling that way, that might help us kind of break it down to what might be going on with us, what might be happening during that time. Okay? Here's some more. Here's another, a bunch of sensations that you could think about what, do you know how you feel with all these sensations? Some you may not even have ever thought about as a sensation. What would you look like if you were feeling shaky, twitchy? Maybe you were feeling or calm. How would you look or feel? How would you look to somebody else, do you think, if you were feeling strong or intense? What do you think you look like? Which feelings or sensations could you recognize if you did experience those? Maybe you know when you feel calm. You recognize that sensation in you. Maybe also recognize when you're shaky or when you're feeling warm. Or maybe you feel stuck somewhere. Maybe you're feeling anxious and you feel stuck in a room or with people. Have you recognized feeling stuck, that sensation? What would you expect others to look like or behave like for particular feelings or sensations? Because we may think we know what somebody looks like if they are fearful, but maybe they get quiet, maybe they get withdrawn. Maybe we think we know what somebody looks like when they're calm, but maybe that is not how their body reacts to that sensation. So if your teachers may pause here for you to choose one or two words, one or two sensations, feelings that you could draw around or write, what comes to mind when you think of that sensation or feeling, or what it feels like to you, or what it looks like to you. You can write words, you can draw, you can create your own word art, create a drawing. Just choose one or two. So teachers, if you could pause here for students to draw or write, or you could have a class discussion if you prefer. Now that we talked about how important it is to identify how we feel and be able to name those sensations associated to those feelings, have you ever heard about plants having feelings? There's a lot of debate about that out there, but you know what? My grandma had a lot of houseplants, and she would talk nicely to them or talk nicely about them when she would show us around. And she had lots of them. She really liked them. And they were always big and healthy and looked great. So according to my childhood observations, I'm gonna go with yes. So you can have your own opinion or do your own research on that. But we're going to watch this video that tests the idea and see how words can affect a plant's growth. And as you're watching it, consider, what does that mean for us? And how other people's words and also our own words can affect our own feelings and growth.
Nobody likes you. No one notices when you're in the hole.
You're a mistake.
You're useless. You're not even green.
You look rotten. Are you really even alive?
I like you the way you are. Seeing you blossom makes me happy.
You're making a difference in the world.
You are beautiful.
I brought them here to see the plant. I was like, a plant is getting bullied. Like, it's not normal.
I think it's an excellent project. To have something tangible that you can actually physically be a part of is, I think, going to be very powerful.
As the weeks passed, I started noticing that the one that was being bullied started kind of to droop.
While the plant that was being complimented, it was flourishing and beautiful.
It's raised the profile massively of different forms of bullying and the effects that bullying can have on people.
If it affects a plant, it can definitely affect other people.
Okay, so does that give you any other thoughts or ideas about what you think if plants are talked to in a kind way, that they'll flourish and grow much better than plants who are talked to in a negative and a bullying way? So how are brains like gardens? Just like seeds planted in a pot, words can be planted in our brains, both negative and positive thoughts. So flower seed needs sunshine, nourishing soil, and water to grow healthy, among a few things. So similarly, positive thought seeds, if we think about it that way, needs a place to be planted. So our brains, attention and care to grow healthy. So think about who's your sunshine, who feeds your positive thoughts, what space do you feel safe, and how do you lift yourself up? We're going to work together. I have, let's get this out of the way here. Our brains out of the way here. We're gonna work together to give this little seed the best opportunity to grow and thrive. So right now, together, we're planting this seed surrounded by positivity, okay? This pot is sturdy and safe, okay? And this soil is full of nutrients. Okay, so we're gonna put this soil that is full of nutrients in here. Okay. Now, that's good. Like that. And we have our seeds, our thoughts. So just like our thought seeds, here are some flower seeds. Okay. So let's speak some encouraging words right now. Let's start off our thought seeds in a positive way. So it's okay to laugh, but I'm going to think about what we could say to these seeds and start them off in a positive way. So you are a strong seed. I know you can grow into a healthy, happy plant and flower. The students and staff at Clark will help you every step of the way. Here you go. Beautiful, strong seeds. I'll put those in there. Okay. Cover it up. And here's some water because it's important to stay hydrated, remember? So we're gonna give it a little water to help it stay hydrated. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna put our little pot here in the front office so it can get some sunshine, and you can stop by to say some positive words to it. But I'll also bring it around the wings every now and then, so give everybody an opportunity to provide your own encouragement. Don't forget to take time to plant some positive thought seeds and provide them time to grow and care that they need to grow inside your brain. Okay, so another way to help calm our nervous system and help our brains return to a relaxed state is focused attention practices. Okay, we did, I think, a couple last SEL lesson, just kind of started you off with, remember, the hand motions. We did a few of those. My class that I did it with did a great job with that. So we're gonna do a few to help our brains return to that relaxed state with some of these focused attention practices. I have so many. We're gonna do a few today. We're gonna just try several different ones. As we do, feel free to close your eyes with some of them if you feel comfortable for that. If not, no big deal. If you don't feel comfortable doing them right away, maybe take a moment to kind of watch what we're doing and jump in, try them when you feel one that might be more comfortable for you. So I appreciate though that everyone is letting us have a space where we can feel safe to try new things and support each other in learning strategies to help ourselves and to help others. So, all right, so let's start with a few of these. So the first one we're gonna try is called So What? So sometimes we might feel a little irritated or anxious. This focused attention practice can help calm and reframe the experience that we're having that's bothersome or bothering us. So it's a breathing practice. So as we breathe in, inside your heads, you're just gonna say so. And you can say it with as much attitude as you want, whatever is good for you. And as we breathe out and we exhale, we're gonna say to ourselves inside our brains, what? So we're gonna do this a few times, imagining as if this worry or frustration will not even matter a week from now, or a month from now, or a year from now. So this is a great one to do with smaller worries or irritations and annoyances, okay? And of course you can close your eyes or you don't have to. So we're gonna breathe in, and in our heads we're gonna say so, and then as we exhale we're gonna say what inside our brain. So you're gonna breathe in, say so, and as you exhale you're gonna say what. So what? So you can do that a couple more times. So did you find yourself saying it calmly? Did you get it more calmly? Did you start out with a little bit of attitude maybe as you thought about that worry or that annoyance? And maybe by the time that you're done, you'll realize that you're saying so what in a much more calm and relaxed way. Okay, so the next one we're gonna do is lifeline tracing. So if you look at your hand, you have the lines on your palm called lifelines. And as we breathe deeply, we're just tracing the lifelines on our hand with our finger and matching the breath to the movement. So you're just gonna breathe in and out as you follow the lines in your hand, deep inhaling and exhaling. And you can switch hands if you'd like, whenever you'd like. Just matching the movement with, see if as you go up along the lines, if you match your breathing to the tracing the lines on your hand. So I'm gonna start down at the palm, and I'm gonna trace a lifeline to one of my fingers. So I'm gonna deep breathe in. And then as I exhale, I'm gonna come back down on another lifeline and follow it. And then maybe I'll try my other hand. And as I stop with my finger, and as I exhale, I begin to trace another line. Okay. Those are calming breathing exercises to calm us. An energizing breathing exercise, you may see like a performer getting ready for an event or an athlete. Sometimes I will see athletes getting ready to do this when they're getting ready to, like, a game's getting ready to start. Maybe I would notice when my son played football, the football players often do this, where they take a deep breath. They're kind of priming their bodies and brains for this competition, and they're energizing their bodies. So it's where they take a inhale really deep, and they breathe out really fast, really quickly and really fast. They may take that deep breath, and then you can see them exhaling really fast. A lot of times you'll see them kind of hopping or moving back and forth as they're exhaling. That's kind of energizing, and that powerful breath energizes our brains and bodies when we're kind of feeling maybe tired, maybe we're unfocused, or we just want to get focused and get ready for something, whether it's a competition, whether it's for something new experience, whatever it might be, or you're just feeling a little sluggish or tired. That's a good way to energize your brain and body, not just for athletes. Another one is maybe if you have a little bottle of lotion, or you have hand sanitizer, which we have a lot. Just using the hand sanitizer or lotion, just to use it, rub it into your hands. As you intentionally, remember we've talked about intentionally doing something on purpose, and these things are on purpose to help ourselves, whether it's to regulate, calm, energize. We're using these intentional ideas to think, this is what I need right now. This is helping myself. So as you're rubbing the hand sanitizer in or the lotion, you're breathing in and out, just paying attention to our breath, and maybe the sensation, since we've talked about sensations and sensation of our hands and wrists, because when you have to rub lotion or hand sanitizer in, you're moving your wrists. So just kind of think about the different sensations that you're feeling as you're doing the hand massage. and do that breath. Okay, don't forget your fingertips. Okay, so that's another focused attention practice. Let's see. Another is it's called an old favorite because I talk to students a lot of times. Some students talk about colors. Like my daughter used to do that. She'd talk about words and feelings and people in colors. She saw it in colors, and that really, and a lot of people do that, I've noticed. But breathe in your favorite color. And as that color imagine that kind of color swirling around your head and your brain and into your body and filling up all the spaces in your body that you can imagine. And then hold that breath for 4 counts or for a few counts, however long you would like, and then slowly exhale, releasing a worry or maybe an irritation or an annoyance or your anxiety in a color that you do not like. So take in your favorite color, a color that makes you feel good, makes you happy. Imagine you inhaling that color and it filling up your body, and then take a worry or an anxiety out as you exhale with a color that you don't like. So it's kind of taking away all of those kind of worries and anxiety. So let's try it. So think about a color that makes you feel good or you enjoy, and so you're going to breathe it in. You can close your eyes if you'd like, you don't have to. So you're going to breathe it in. Imagine that color is filling up your body and feeling good. It makes you feel good and calm. And then whatever worry or anxiety or irritation that you might be feeling, if you're not, that is fine. Just let that color that you enjoy fill your body and stay in there. And then if you do have an annoyance, a worry or anxiety, you're going to wrap the color that you do not like around that anxiety and exhale it out. And imagine that color coming out with your breath along with all the worries and anxieties that you have. Here's another easy breathing technique. It's just finger tapping, and you may do that already. And you're just going to finger tap and create your own rhythm with it. Remember, close your eyes, or you don't have to. But as you breathe in, you tap your fingers. You can tap slowly as you breathe in. And then as you go back the other way, exhale. Okay, and you can repeat that as many times as you would like. That helps you. Another one is your fingers touching your shoulders and your elbows lifted up high. And this is a really good movement one. So you're going to twist left and inhale. Then you're going to hold it. And then as you twist the other way, exhale. And that's a really good one to do several times with a powerful breath. That might be one you want to do in the morning when you get up, before you even get out of bed, when you kind of help yourself kind of get stretched and starting to, start the day off. Let's see. A wrist one is always good. If you think of your amygdala, put them inside your fingers, stretch your hands out if you'd like, or you can keep them close by. Remember, there's no wrong, just do what feels good to you and what's helpful to you. But if you stretch out, make a fist, tuck those thumbs in, and just slowly rotate your wrists, okay? Slow, deep breaths, or just take a moment to really feel those sensations in your wrists. And it really helps us release the tension. Kind of does one of those muscle relaxation, because right now you're tensing up those muscles, and then go the other way, and then as you're done, open up your hands and let all of that tension out slowly. Okay. Let's see. Another one to do that might be good for when you're in your room, or when you're first getting up, is sighing. We use sighing is really helpful. And it's not sighing when your mom tells you to go clean your room, and it's not like that kind of sighing. It's intentional sighing to help your nervous system. So you're gonna take a huge deep breath and then let out a sigh. So not a scream, not a shout, but just that sound that comes out when you're letting all of that go. So, so take a huge deep breath in. Just sigh, whatever that sounds like for you. And those are very calming to our nervous systems. Sighing is a very helpful tool to calm our nervous system. So doing it several times in a row, maybe 2-3 times, can really help calm our nervous system. So if you're feeling very anxious, chest tight, and you need to go to the bathroom and take some deep breaths and sigh, you can feel it in your body change that can happen when you're feeling really anxious. So try sighing. Tracing your hand is always one way to kind of help calm your nervous system. You just take a pencil or a pen, whatever you have, and just trace your hand as you take deep breaths, or just watch the pen go around your hand back and forth. Remember, that's that grounding, that distraction technique that can help us calm and refocus our thinking. I have a couple more and then we'll be done with the focused attention. Crinkling paper. So if you have a piece of scrap paper, just begin to crinkle it slowly as you take deep breaths in. And listen to the sounds it's making as you're crinkling it. And as you made a tight ball, now you're gonna unwrinkle it as you take deep breaths in and out. You can keep doing that if you'd like to crinkle it in and out. Or another way, now that you have a crinkled piece of paper, you can take your pen or pencil and start just tracing over the crinkled lines while you take your deep breaths, or use it as a way to refocus your negative thoughts, or to calm yourself. And then, let's see, last one we're going to talk about today is dedicate this one. So I think that's a good way to end some of these focused attention practices. So in this focused attention practice, we're going to create an image or write down a few words that we want to share with someone that we appreciate. So as we think of this person, we're going to breathe deeply in and out slowly, thinking about maybe how much we care about them, or how they make us feel, how they maybe give us hope or gave us something that we needed at a time that we really needed, or they just make us happy, or we enjoy their company. Whatever it is, whatever makes you think of this person in a good way, breathe in and out as you're thinking about that person. Do it one more time. So now that you kind of have thought about those words of what comes to mind when you think about that person, just share anything that you can think of with that person, just as you think about them, sharing that love for them, that appreciation that you have for them just in your mind, and fill yourself up with that those good thoughts about that person. So, and that this is dedicated to them. So those are all we're going to share for focused attention practices. I have tons more I can share with you, and I probably will share more with you as we go on. And I appreciate it. If you want to try those again, I will put this in the Best Me, so if you'd like to go back and try those again, or come see me and I can give you some to try, okay? All right. So the last thing we're going to talk about is the Dear Mrs. Vickers. We have one more SEL lesson for the year. I know that's crazy. I can't believe we're almost finished with our school year, but do you have a question that you would like answered, or maybe a situation you would like advice about? Then you can fill out this Google form in the Best Me with Mrs. V Google Classroom titled Ask Mrs. Vickers. And I might use your question or your situation on the last SEL show. You can choose to be anonymous. You don't have to leave your name, but you can. I will not have time on the show probably for every question or situation, but I'll try to do my best to answer as many as I can, and a variety of them. What can you ask? Well, maybe you want to know how to start a club, or you had a friendship issue and you would like advice about. Maybe you want to ask me, why do you always talk about deep breathing exercises? I don't know. You can ask me whatever. I will choose. These will go straight to me. I'll choose a variety that hopefully will answer some questions maybe that you've been thinking about. I was going to say it's like a Dear Abby. Your teachers might know what I'm talking about, but I have found out why would kids know about that. It was an advice column in the newspaper a long time ago, so it's Dear Mrs. Vickers. So thank you so much for using active listening today. And I hope you learn more about how your brain works and be able to use that knowledge to understand what is happening and why when you're feeling a certain way, and then practice how to help your brain regulate and reset. I look forward to seeing your questions. I hope you have a great day. Thank you.